was done before I did the review because it was such a big game, and well, as we'll get into later, I'm kind of glad. I'm very glad, in fact, I did that because there's a lot to talk about, and especially in general, there's a lot of discussion points to talk about. So, hope you guys do enjoy. Let me know your thoughts on the games below, and also, I think something I'm going to start doing now is at the end of each episode, I'm going to award my player of the week, my worst player of the week, and my VAR mess up of the week. So, stick around to the end of the episode to see who I award those to and who you would award those to, but let's begin. So, start with Fulham 0, Man United 1. Goal in the 91st minute from Bruno Fernandes in what was, to be honest, a very boring game, especially as a neutral watching this. Not much going on from either side. No real quality. As you can see, just 5 shots on target, 3 for Fulham. And I mean, when you look at the players on the pitch, it was kind of clear to see why these are two of the lowest scoring teams in the league. Looking at the attacks of both teams, there's no one there who you would say, you would back them to score, but in the end, it was just that moment of quality which the game was dying out for from Bruno, who stepped up. Fair play to him. Now, as for United, I mean, firstly, actually, we need to talk about the disallowed goal. So there was a disallowed goal early on for Scott McTominay's goal, which I did think was rightfully offside because Maguire was impacting Rodrigo Muniz. But in terms of Man United's performance as a whole, look, they needed to get the job done, but the performance was flat. I thought, in terms of individuals, Anthony was rubbish, absolutely rubbish in this game. They really lacked any invention or creativity in this game. Interestingly, Rashford was dropped from the squad, apparently injured. Not sure if he was injured or it was due to what happened after the Manchester derby, where apparently, he was at a nightclub, had to come out, apologise, etc. So I don't know what happened there, but I actually thought Maguire, fair play to him, he was fantastic, but I don't know why he was allowed to play because he did look a little bit dazed with a head injury, so I'm not sure what the protocol there was, but Maguire, fair play to him, he has really done well recently, as has Onana as well, made a couple good saves in this match. But what is really concerning, I don't know what's happened, maybe there's a bust up or something, but Varane, what's going on here? That's 2 games in a row where he's been sat on the bench. Johnny Evans and Maguire have been playing ahead of him. As said, Maguire's been playing well, fair play, but you would still expect Varane to be playing. So, yeah, that was a bit weird. I'm not sure what's going on there with Varane. But in the end, a win is a win. And that's all that really matters right now for United and Ten Hag. Just to relieve a little bit of pressure off his back. As for Fulham, though, I really thought this was a missed opportunity, in my opinion. I felt like they should have gone for United. United were fragile going into this game. Lost like 3 games in a row. But you look here, the possession stats, they let them have the ball. And while United didn't really create too much, Fulham, when they actually got forward, they actually got at United and looked like they could score. So I thought it was a missed opportunity by Fulham if they had just taken the game to them, and also really shocking defending for that goal for Bruno. But big win there for Man United and Ten Hag. Next up, Brentford 3, West Ham 2. Goals from Neil Mopey, own goal from Mavropanos, Nathan Collins, Mohamed Kudus and Jared Bowen. So, if we start with Brentford, this is a big win for Brentford. I think that's 3 wins in a row now. It might be, which is massive for them. And this against the West Ham team are really good. Now Brentford, they essentially bullied the bully, which was stunning because West Ham in a lot of the games this season they have essentially been that bullying team where they're going to get physical to you, they're going to dominate you in the air, they're going to put balls into the box, you're not going to be able to cope with these guys. And Brentford beat West Ham at their own game. That's exactly what they did. They launched that ball into the air time and time again, and West Ham couldn't cope, and Brentford were superb. I actually thought Neil Mopey was really good yet again. He's done really well since joining Brentford, got his first goal for them. Credit to Mopey, the GOAT. But that's a big win for Brentford, who are, I guess, resurgent now. West Ham, though, a bit worrying because, as I said, they got bullied and they almost got West Hammed. Like, West Ham have been doing this to teams, but West Ham got West Hammed, if that makes any sense. By the way, Mohamed Kudus, what a goal. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Incredible scissor kick by him. But some of the defending, Moyes will be absolutely fuming. Some of the defending for the goals was horrific. The first one, ball comes in, don't clear their lines, goal. The other goal, again, actually, the other two are all from crosses. All of them crosses into the box, and West Ham don't deal with it. Which, when you're looking at it, West Ham, as I said, they've been that team who have been doing that to teams. They should be dealing with that, with the height they have in that team, but they didn't. Benrahma and Antonio had an absolute mare with an open goal missed, and yeah, really, really annoying for West Ham, who just could not cope with Brentford's physicality, which, to be fair, is probably one of the only games in the season where West Ham will probably get out physically matched. Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 2. So 2 goals there from Jeffrey Schlupp and Tyreek Mitchell. Now, if we start, let's start with Palace. Firstly, big up Jeffrey Schlupp. You know, I don't think he's very popular amongst the Palace fans. A lot of people don't think he should be playing. I don't think he should. He's not very good, but came up with a goal, fair play, still scoring. But Palace, I'm actually going to issue an apology to Palace and Roy Hodgson. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. They are completely fine. If you watch my Premier League predictions video, it was sort of an outside rogue shout, but I thought I'd just chuck them in, and I said they would get relegated. I was completely wrong. Now, the reason I said they were going to get relegated was because of the lack of goals. But they didn't have Eze today, they didn't have Elise today, and they still scored 2 goals. They are just effective team. They will find goals wherever they need to, and they will stop goals going in. Another clean sheet, defensively solid yet again. Huge credit to what Roy Hodgson has done at Palace. And also big up Sam Johnston, who was fantastic in this game, and I think is actually one of the most underrated keepers in the league. He's honestly fantastic. I never really see him put a foot wrong. Alright, as for Burnley, now I've got a bit to say on Burnley. Firstly, this is a really damning loss. I think it's a historic loss now. I think no team has lost their first 5 at-home games in a row in the Premier League, which is really worrying. That home form is concerning because if you're a newly promoted side, as you saw last year, Nottingham Forest, for example, they won like 1 game away from home yet still stayed up. If you can make your home form a fortress, then you have a really good chance of staying up, but Burnley are not doing that right now. Teams are going there and absolutely destroying them. I remember seeing something as well, like even a Burnley club had to issue a statement to tell the fans, get behind the team, make it a bit of an atmosphere, because it's not good enough right now. But the home form is concerning. And the big thing here, especially in this game, which to be fair hasn't really been a problem too much this season, it's more been the other end, but this end it was goals and creativity. They just really lacked invention, lacked that killer instinct at the final third. I think a lot of that was due to not having Lyle Foster, who has been really good this season, I would say. But yeah, these attackers, Goodmanson, Golio Show, these guys just couldn't really get it done. any sort of idea of what they were doing, any decisiveness in the final third. But I was thinking about this, and I know a lot of people are starting to question like Company, and that's another loss for Burnley and stuff. But I think you need to give Burnley and Company time, because I said this about Bournemouth and Iraola. I've seen good parts. It's going to take time with all these new players, etc. But Burnley actually have a completely different squad from the squad that came up from a championship. Like Trafford new, O'Shea new, I'm pretty sure he's new. Sander Berge, Koleosho, Seki, I'm doing the only ones in this starting lineup were Jay Rodriguez, Brownhill, Goodmanson, Bayer, and Charlie Taylor. 5 players who they were playing last year, and they were only playing Jay Rodriguez because Foster was out. So they have a completely different team from last year. It's going to take a lot of time. A lot of these guys are very, very young as well. So look, I still worry for Burnley in terms of I don't know if it's going to actually come good, but I think you need to give them the time to actually come good. It could be a bit of a Nottingham Forest case here, where they bought a load of players and they're just going to need some time to click and figure out who needs to play where. But yeah, it's not looking good right now for Burnley. Next up, we have Everton 1, Brighton 1, goals from Vitaly Mikalenko and a own goal from Ashley Young. So we start with Brighton. Now, there was actually an incredible disallowed goal by Lewis Dunk, who scored a fantastic goal. Unfortunately, it was ruled out for offside, which is a bit sad for him because it was a banger. But firstly, he was perfectly fine in this game, and I don't have anything against him, but Zerbi needs to stop this keeper rotation thing. He swapped his keeper again for Bruggen out for Steele. Just stick with one, please. If you're going to persist with Verbruggen, persist with him. Use the other in Europa League and cup matches. I think you need to have a clear number 1 and a clear number 2. You shouldn't be rotating your keeper like this because there's causing uncertainty at the back. And I guess we kind of saw it in this game, right? Because again, Brighton were, not really good playing out from a back, dealing with the press of Everton. Looked really, really unsettled. Again, one of you guys commented last week, and I saw it was a big issue again here about the injuries on the fullback positions. You see here they had to play Veltman and Gross, and it wasn't looking very good because obviously Estupinan and Lamptey are out. That lack of wing backs is really affecting them right now. But for once, actually, Brighton, I've never actually said this under the Zerbi, I don't think, but they lacked creativity. They really struggled to break Everton down. They had almost 80% of the ball and they have 2 shots on target, which was, unlike Brighton usually. They will create a lot of chances. They might get smacked up, but they'll still create chances. But in this game, they really struggled. It was only really Mitoma who was doing something, and he eventually got the goal, which didn't really look like it was coming, to be honest. Came out of a bit of fortune from Ashley Young. So not the best from Brighton, to be honest. Who, I'm going to say again, they're struggling in terms of like European football and stuff. Injuries is affecting them now. I think they will eventually come good, but yeah, this squad is getting a bit stretched right now. It's a little bit of a difficult moment for them. As for Everton, it was actually a fantastic performance and really, really harsh for them to lose it, especially in the way they did, because they didn't deserve to lose that game. They were absolutely superb. They deserved to win that game. I said it before, their pressing was fantastic. Brighton couldn't really build up, couldn't really do anything, break down Everton, because they were sitting in the mid-block and they'll have Decore pressing like a rat. He was insane this game. He has been superb overall this season. One of the players, again, I would say has gone under the radar this season in terms of how good he's performed. Calvert-Lewin is looking like he's getting back to his best. I did think Pickford probably could have done better. honest, I think credit to Sean Dyche and credit to Everton, because it was another fantastic display, and they're really well and truly playing Dyche ball right now. It is full flowing, in full force, and they're looking great, and I think they're going to be perfectly fine. Next up, Man City 6, Bournemouth 1. Goals from Jeremy Doku, Bernardo Silva, Akanji, Foden, and Ake and Sinistera got a consolation for Bournemouth. Right, let's just talk about Bournemouth a little bit here. I mean, this is horrible for them. 6 goals conceded. It was always going to be tough, and I think everyone kind of expected a bit of a battering for them at City, but you don't want to lose like that. He actually changed it up as well, went to a 5-back, so I can't even say like, oh, they did stuff which didn't other games where they're too naive, trying to play out for our back and be all expansive. He recognised that they were coming up against a juggernaut, and he tried his best to shut up shop, and it still didn't even work. So I don't really know what else he could have done there. But the main thing is Alex Scott's injury absolutely devastating, because he has just come back from a lengthy injury and now has got injured again. So that's worrying, and just not a good day at the office for Bournemouth. But look, I mean, Iraola is just hoping that's not going to damage the confidence too much for them. As for Man City, well, this was a vintage City performance in my opinion. This was a rolling back for years too. I think it was the 100-point season where they had Sane, Sterling. I remember all the time on these 3 o'clock kickoffs at home, Man City, I'm always expecting 4, 5, 6, 7 goals by them, and this was that vintage performance yet again. Just absolute domination. And now the star man, Jeremy Doku. He scored and got 4 assists. To be honest, he should have 2 goals, 3 assists, because that Akanji goal is basically Doku's. It just deflects off Akanji, but Doku, wow, he has lit up this team and lit up the Premier League so far. Insane by him. And I just wanted to pose a question. I don't think I've seen a player settle into a Pep Guardiola system so quickly ever. Usually, I'll go through the team, right? Like John Stones, Nathan Ake, to be fair, Kanji settled in pretty nice. Kovacic's done okay. Okay, Haaland settled in pretty nice. But especially for wingers and usually players, for example, like Grealish and stuff, they get eased into the team. They're not chucked in straight away. And there's a little bit of an adaptation period, and then it's usually in their second season where they explode. Doku has come in and instantly hit it running, and especially, as I said, for wingers in a Pep system, they're usually the ones which struggle. Grealish, Mahrez, Bernardo, these guys when they first came in, didn't, they were in and out of the team. Not necessarily the best, but Doku has come in and lit it up straight away, which is insane. And Man City, they're looking good. They are looking good, I will say, and they return to the top of the league where, I'm not sure if they're going to come off that spot unless Rodri gets another injury or something. Next up, Sheffield United 2, Wolves 1, Cameron Archer, Ollie Norwood and Bellegarde with the goals. An insane game, absolute drama to the last minute. So, if we start with Wolves here, now, Wolves, they're going to be very, very hard done by here. A 90 plus 10 penalty from Ollie Norwood, and it was exactly the same pen as the week before against Newcastle, where Hwang kicked to try and clear the ball and barely made contact, and the player goes down as a pen. Exactly the same thing happened here, and they gave a pen again, which was just insane to me, because they literally demoted Anthony Taylor for making that decision last week, and then they give the pen again. Like Fabio Silva is literally trying to pull out of a challenge and avoid making it, and they still give it. It's so stupid. It's honestly so stupid. And Wolves have, I guess, been robbed again. However, what I will say is they can't necessarily be too angry, because you come against a team who hasn't won a game this season. You shouldn't necessarily be relying on a decision like that in order to get a point from the team. You should have put the game past them. And I think the thing with Wolves is low blocks. I just think they struggle against those teams who have low blocks. I think they're much better. I've talked about it this season. I've been impressed with them, but that's because they've been on the counter attack. They've been really good. When teams sit off and say, "What have you got?" I think Wolves struggle a little bit to break down those teams. That's something which they really need to work on. And yeah, I mean, you look at their players. A lot of their players are geared towards counter-attacking football, so that's going to be the hiccup really for Wolves. They need to try and break down these low blocks. As for Sheffield, though, incredible first win of the season finally, and that's huge for Paul Heckingbottom. Just relieves a bit of pressure off him. You know, people have been saying they're going to do the Derby County stuff like that, but this is a big win for them, and they're going to be hoping this is going to really springboard them into something. Cameron Archer, the Villa man, scores versus Wolves. Ironic, it was a good goal as well. And then Ollie Norwood coming up with a clutch penalty late on. Big win for Sheffield, big win. As I said, huge for them. Hopefully it can be a springboard, and yeah, I'm just glad that they've actually got a win on the board. At least they're not going to go this season without 0 wins. That would be a big shame on the Premier League. Alright, next up, Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. And I have quite a bit to say here in a game where a lot happened, and quite a bit of controversy. So let's start with Newcastle. So in terms of individual performances and stuff like that, I thought Joel Linton was fantastic. I thought Bruno Guimaraes should have been sent off. He was going out there trying to rough up some players. He was just pushing people, elbowing people. It was insane. I thought he should have gone. And to be honest, the whole Newcastle team were like that. This was almost that vintage, old school, get into them sort of performance, where sit back, you come near our box, we're going to press you, we're going to be all over you, hunt you in packs, and you're not going to be able to do anything. And it worked, you know. It's maybe not the most attractive style, but it worked, and Newcastle picked up a big win. And what's more impressive is when you consider their injuries. They've got so many injuries. Isaac's out, Harvey Barnes is out, Botman is out. We have another couple players as well who are out, who I can't quite remember. You know, we have to bring up players like Matt Ritchie, etc. So this is huge to be still picking up wins against a team like Arsenal when you've got these amount of injuries. That's big, and you know, there's no reason right now they are title contenders in my opinion. Again, I'll say it, they're probably not going to win it, but they're contenders right now because they're winning these games, they're beating these people. With all these injuries, when these players come back, they're going to be even better. Their home form is incredible. St James's Park is either St James's Park, Villa Park, and the Etihad. These three stadiums are the three hardest stadiums for me to play in the Premier League right now. It's huge for Newcastle, a big win against a title rival, I guess, and yeah, massive for them. Arsenal then, let's talk about it. So before we get into the actual goal, in terms of a couple things, firstly, David Raya, he needs to That's what 2-3 times now. He's made errors. He's always kind of been that keeper, a bit of an error-prone keeper, but he's made a couple now. And in my opinion, I think Ramsdale should come in at least for the next Champions League game. Give him that. I know he's probably not going to do it, but I think Ramsdale needs to come in because Raya's cost his team right now. Like, he should be dealing with that. We'll get into, if it was in or not, but either way, Raya should be stopping that goal and collecting that ball. I thought Kai Havertz, interestingly, he played as, I believe Odegaard was injured, did nothing again, and probably should have got sent off. A pretty bad challenge on Dan Burn, and that just sparked an absolutely fiery game. There was a lot of yellow cards, as you can see, and I mean, Kai Havertz, another rubbish performance, and honestly, probably has to be the worst signing for summer right now. He's come in and done absolutely nothing. This is a game where you're looking at him, our captain is out, injured, you're coming in to replace him. Can you do something? No. Now, as for the actual goal, I also thought Saka wasn't really good as well. The Newcastle defence did really well to lock him and Martinelli up, but look, as for the goal, so this is where the controversy comes in. So firstly, the ball, was it out or in from Murphy, or Willock, sorry. I don't know. It reminds me very much of a Germany-Japan situation. I have no clue if it is in or not. The technology, the camera angles are not there, and they're probably not going to be there because the amount of cameras you would need to cover all of that is just not worth it, so it's probably not going to happen. Then the offside, he's onside. And then the big one really is Joel Linton. Did he push and foul Gabriel? Now this is my thing, but I think it probably is a foul. Slightly. However, play to the whistle, David Raya should deal with it, and Arsenal can stop that goal. But even if it is a foul, Arsenal can stop that goal. The ball is almost going out, but Arsenal players switch off if they think that's going out. They start complaining to the ref that is going out. Credit to Willock for keeping that in. Don't stop the cross. Cross comes in, Darren Raya flaps at it. Gabriel, come on, be strong, tall, stand up, try and get that out. Doesn't deal with it, goes in. Even if it is a foul, Arsenal could have cleared their lines and got rid of that goal. So I don't think they can complain too much. They should be annoyed, but they should be more annoyed at the way those players reacted. They should be dealing with it. And Arteta's reaction, I mean, if you haven't seen it, wow, he has gone on a rant and a half. He was going off on the officials, calling it a disgrace, etc. I don't think it's an absolute disgrace. Like, I think it's probably a wrong decision, but I think it's a bit over the top, his reaction. I understand his frustrations, but I don't know, I think his reaction is a little bit over the top. Alright, next up, Nottingham Forest 2, Aston Villa 0, Ola Aina and Oriol Mangala with goals. Now, if we start with Nottingham Forest, fantastic, absolutely fantastic win for them. It's been a couple games since they've won, so a big win in a derby, I believe, against Villa. And I thought they were terrific. They deserved it. Defensively, so solid. Their midfield absolutely stifled Villa's midfield, who really struggled to build anything. And they played fantastic. The new goalkeeper, I called that he should come in instead of Turner last week, and he did come in. Was perfectly fine, although he didn't really have too much to do. The defence was really, really solid. Niakate was a beast at the back. Just an overall fantastic performance by Nottingham Forest, and a really, really big win for them against Villa, who have been absolutely purring so far. And as for Villa, I mean, this was a real disappointing one. A bit of a backward step, and I guess a bit of a reality check, because they have been on such a high recently that they're not the finished article. They do still have faults. crosses in, which were never going to do anything. And as I said, the midfield had an off day. It got stifled by Mangala Sangare and Dominguez, and they didn't test for new goalie at all, so it was not good. And Emi Martinez, an absolute howler with the Mangala goal, absolute howler, which cost this team in the end. So just a real off day for Villa. Fantastic vote for Forest. Alright, Luton 1, Liverpool 1, goals from De Jong and Luis Diaz in the 95th minute. So, if we start with Luton, I mean, wow, fantastic, absolutely fantastic by them. What a performance by them. Some of the players, individual players. Kabore was fantastic, bombing forward. Ross Barkley, the GOAT, what a performance by him. Okbene, incredible. It was just insane. Chong came on, fantastic. Fantastic performance by them. Rob Edwards has done so well with them. And, people mock them, people laugh at them. Luton are not playing like a relegation side right now. They are playing like a perfectly capable team. Honestly, I think this Luton agenda that, Luton are rubbish, we can go there and just win easily. No, Luton are a good, tough team to beat, and I think people need to get that in their heads now. And I think with a result like this, they're going to start to get that in their heads, because Luton, I think we need to put some respect on them. This season they're playing perfectly fine. They are by far the better of all of the promoted sides. They are better than a lot of other sides in the Prem right now. And yeah, another terrific performance by Luton. Unfortunately, couldn't get the win though. Just seemed like they had too much nerves at the end. Panicked a little bit, and they were trying to clear the lines, just whacking it away and stuff, and miscuing it. So devastating to lose it at the death, but a point against Liverpool is still terrific. Now, as for Liverpool, so this was not good for them. Not good. I mean, full credit to Luis Diaz, a very emotional game and goal for him, with his whole father being kidnapped situation, absolutely mental situation coming on and scoring the equaliser at the end. Yeah, incredible stuff by him. It was almost poetic. But as for the Liverpool performance as a whole, I mean, really poor, really poor. In front of the goal, so wasteful. 24 shots and he only scored one, and that was in the 95th minute. And about 10 of them came from this man, Darwin Núñez. Absolute howler. I don't know what. This guy's so weird. If you saw his goal in the Carabao Cup versus Bournemouth last week, you would think this guy is prime R9. And then in this game, he has about 5 chances, misses them all, has an open goal, skies it over the bar. Just awful. And in general, Liverpool really wasteful in this game. And I did actually think they struggled a little bit creative wise. But when they did create this chance, they didn't put them away. And I think this is a game where Liverpool, they're going to be in and around the title race, but if you want to win the title and you're serious about winning it, you can't drop points here. You cannot drop points at Luton if you're serious about winning the title. Man City are probably not going to do this. And Liverpool, I think they know that. Klopp knows that. These are games you can't be dropping points in if you're serious about the title. And I think this game kind of showed, as we've seen, there's been a lot of fragility shown by Liverpool this season. I think this game really did show that, Liverpool are definitely not the finished article right now and still have a bit of problems in their side. Alright. Spurs 1, Chelsea 4. Right, I literally have a whole page of notes on this game. So we're going to go by half and by minute this game. So, first off, 5 goals, well, just in general, 5 goals, 5 disallowed goals, 2 reds, and a hat-trick. This game was insane. So first off, so for the first goal, Kulusevski's goal, really poor by us. We started really poor. Chelsea got caught out in a high press. I'm not sure 5 minutes in why we're trying to do some mad high press on Spurs in their own backyard. We knew it was going to be a tough game. They're playing so well. They can play out the press nicely. They've shown it so far this season. Why are we doing that? Got caught out and concede. And for the first 15 minutes we looked really, really bad. Like really bad. And then this happened. Destiny Adogi came in with an absolutely flying tackle on Sterling, which for me should be a red, straight red. Simply because if Sterling doesn't pull out of that challenge, it's a red. Sterling moved away from Adogi, so Adogi got the ball. But he's literally got 2 feet off the ground. And as I said, if Sterling doesn't move his feet away, both his studs are going into Sterling's ankles. So that should be a red, in my opinion. And then from this moment, Chelsea kicked into gear. I'm not sure, kind of ignited something in us. Started playing better. Caicedo came up with an absolute banger on his weaker foot as well. Didn't really knew he had that in him, but it was offside with Jackson. And in that sequence of play, there was a red card and penalty. Yeah, mental. Christian Romero. I mean, before that, Romero, for me, borderline should have been sent off for kicking out at goal will. There wasn't necessarily like a red card offence, but you can't just kick someone like for no reason, right, and get away with that. You should have at least had a yellow there. And if you think the second actual red card he got was not a red card, then that should be a second yellow at least then, and he should be sent off. But either way, that's a red. He came absolutely firing in, studs up, and this guy, man, I praised him so much this season, as of so many, and rightfully so. But he started so bad in this game and really cost his team. So, Bournemouth puts the penalty away 1-1, and then come the injuries. So, James Maddison and Mickey van der Ven both pull up, and that is huge. Mickey van der Ven pulls his hamstring, which is worrying, because if that is definitely a pulled hamstring, he's going to be out for quite some time. And as we saw in this game, they brought on Dyer to replace Romero, but then they didn't have another centre-back, so they had to bring on Emerson Royale to play centre-back. So, yeah, that's a bit worrying. And Maddison out as well. This is now where we're going to see what Spurs are made of, because Spurs, this is what everyone's been saying, couple injuries, and their depth is not good. Maddison's out now, Van der Ven is out, Romero's going to be out for the next game. The next game is suddenly looking very different, but anyway. So those injuries happen. Levi Colwill, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing? He loses his head, almost gets himself sent off, having a tussle. Reece James almost gets himself sent off. Mental. Second half then, so I thought in general the second half, I thought when they're going to come out, the Spurs, they're going to drop that line a bit, they'll sit in, we're going to have to break them down. And I was worried because Chelsea were not good at breaking down low blocks. We're really not good at it. But Ange, it was suicide, absolute suicide by this guy. So Adogi gets sent off again. What is he doing? Not sure. We're lunging into challenge again. 9 men, and these guys were playing. They were genuinely, their centre backs were on the halfway line, and they had 9 men. It was insane. It made for a very fun game to watch, but understand dying by your principles, but that's a bit extreme. That is a bit extreme. It did almost work, but come on, there's something called game management. Like, you have 9 men. You don't have to park the bus, but just drop a couple yards. Don't allow that much space. Especially when you consider the fact that you don't have Van der Ven. You have Dyer at the back who isn't gonna chase back that much. You have Emerson Royale as well. All these guys. So yeah, it was just suicide for me by Ange. But nevertheless, as I said, it almost worked. They held Chelsea out for a long, long time, up until the 75th minute. Pedro Porro, I thought, was fantastic. Vicario was playing literally as rush goalie. When you play like 5v5 in a cage, and you have like rush goalie, he was doing that. It was mental. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And in the end, we got the goal. Nicholas Jackson actually got a hat-trick. I'm not sure how, because he didn't even have a good game, to be honest, but really happy for him to get himself a hat-trick. Huge for his confidence, but it was a really frustrating second half for me. I thought we were just really naive and showed sort of why this team is so young, because the timing of our runs was so poor. We were forcing it, we were getting overexcited, we saw that space in behind, all our players were just running into it, or we would just clip a ball in there at the first chance we got, and it just didn't work. But eventually, we took our time, started passing the ball around, and then made those runs in behind, and it eventually got in. But what most frustrated me about this was they had 9 men, yet we were still getting cooked on set pieces. Eric Dyer's got a mad goal on a set piece, but it was ruled out. Benton almost scored from a set piece. I'm like, how is it that? How are you getting cooked on a set piece? You literally have 9 men to defend, and you have 11 to defend them. You can literally double up on guys. No man should be free at the back post. How is Dyer free at the back post? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, in the end we got the job done, and 4-1 victory at Spurs. I mean, if you said to me that was going to be a result, I'll be buzzing, like I'll be running around in circles in excitement. But considering the way it happened, I'm not as excited, but I'm still happy we got the job done. A big win to end Spurs' unbeaten run in the derby. It's always nice Pochettino returning back to Spurs with a dub, and hopefully this can kickstart our season a little bit at Chelsea. Alright, so before we end off, let's do our player of the week. Player of the week for me, honourable mentions to Nicholas Jackson for getting a hat-trick, Jeremy Doku for a scintillating performance, and also Ollie Norwood for coming up with a clutch pen at the end for Sheffield. But I'm going to have to give it to Luis Diaz, scoring a goal like that with the emotions running high. Yeah, fair play Luis Diaz. Right, VAR mess of the week. Now to be fair, I thought VAR got surprisingly most of these situations right. Surprisingly, VAR mess of the week is not in this. And I'm gonna go to Wolves Ben. Arsenal fans probably think it's in their game, but I think it's the Wolves Ben, just purely from the fact that they said it was a wrong decision last week against Newcastle, and then basically the same thing happens and they still award it. And then the worst player of the week for me is in that Wolves game. It's Fabio Silva, not because he gave away the pen, but because this guy was crying after the game because he gave away the pen. I know he's not at the best of time at Wolves, but guy was crying like he just gave away a pen in the Champions League final. It's Gameweek 11. Like, come on, man. You play at Sheffield. Why are you crying? Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see